Thank you so much for coming today. We're going to get started. Okay. Thank you for joining us on this third annual World Day of Remembrance for road traffic victims in San Diego. Today we join over 60 events across our country to honor the over 40,000 Americans killed annually on our roads in preventable crashes. We organize not only to remember, but also to end this crisis. I'm Laura Keenan, co-founder of Families for Safe Streets San Diego. We're families who have lost loved ones in traffic crashes or have survived crashes ourselves, nearly all while simply walking or biking. We advocate for safer streets to spare others from our pain. I'm deeply touched by the outpouring of support here today as we stand in solidarity. This is my son, Evan. We want to thank our sponsor organizations, Circulate San Diego, the San Diego County Bicycle Coalition, Bike SD, and the City Heights Community Development Center. And of course, our community leader speakers and our brave crash families who are sharing their stories today. 3 years ago, my husband, Matt, was biking to the movies when a driver struck him in a marked bike lane. I remember saying, "Bye, see you later," but he never made it home. The road was not designed to protect Matt, just as it wasn't designed to protect any of our loved ones up here today, or the survivors here today. Matt didn't stand a chance. He died at the scene. The next morning, I had to tell our 15-month-old son, Evan, that his dad would never come home again. Today, as I walk Evan, now 4, to school every day, and see close calls frequently, my worst fear is losing another family member in a crash, especially my child. Before we continue, I want to honor those that we've lost. In front of you are 258 pairs of empty shoes, representing every person killed in a San Diego County traffic crash last year. Amongst them are 46 pairs of children's shoes and backpacks. These should be filled with children walking to school and backpacks bouncing behind them. Instead, they're empty. Last year, 46 people under 21 were killed in our county roads, and 288 were seriously injured. That's 18% of all traffic deaths, and 26% of serious injuries are affecting our children. Let's take a moment of silence to honor all the lives lost. The partners who will never come home and call about dinner plans, the friends who will never laugh again, the parents who will never see their kids grow up, and the children who never got a chance. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. This is a crisis we cannot ignore. Think of it this way: 258 deaths is equivalent to 2 737 planes crashing and killing everyone on board in our county. And this is happening every year. We would never stand for that. Despite the City of San Diego's commitment to Vision Zero, traffic deaths and serious injuries continue to increase, averaging 100 deaths annually in our city alone over the past 10 years. Most alarming is how this crisis affects our most vulnerable. According to Circulate San Diego's recent Vision Zero report, while the number of crashes involving pedestrians and cyclists has stayed flat, fatalities have steadily increased. Many victims are under 21. Behind these statistics are our children's lives at stake. Recent surveys show parents are increasingly afraid to let their children walk and bike to school, and tragically, these fears are justified. This year's World Day of Remembrance theme is getting kids to school safely, and it speaks to this growing crisis. In some communities, parents like Ana Gonzalez, Desi Blanco, and Guillermina Rice of City Heights are taking matters into their own hands by putting up cones and conducting walk audits after crashes near schools in their neighborhood. But no parent should have to fight this battle alone. Our leaders need to install the life-saving infrastructure our children deserve. That's why today, Families for Safe Streets and our Vision Zero coalition partners are calling on the City of San Diego to adopt 3 life-saving measures to get kids to school safely. The first one is fixing this year's fatal 15 most dangerous intersections with the highest pedestrian and cyclist fatalities. Many of these are near schools. The second is implementing AB 43 to reduce school zone speed limits. When a pedestrian is hit at 15 miles per hour, their chance of dying is 1.8%. At 40 miles per hour, it jumps to 46%. And then the third is improve safety on our 6 critical corridors. These are the most dangerous pedestrian corridors in our city, all along past the school. These streets often are in lower income and minority communities and are part of SANDAG's Safety Focus Network, which shows that just 6% of our region's roads are responsible for 54% of all serious and fatal crashes. We appreciate the city's effort funding last year's Fatal 15 intersections, adopting the Complete Streets policy, and implementing quick build projects. But in the last year of Vision Zero, we need faster, more effective actions. Every week delay means 2 more deaths in our city. As a family who have lost loved ones and as survivors whose lives are forever changed, we implore you, act with the urgency these people's lives deserve. Please commit to our asks. Every child should be able to walk and bike without fearing for their life. Thank you.
Hi. My name is Katie Gordon, and I stand before you as a single mother of 2 beautiful twin girls, Malia and Michaela. We are proud members of the Families for Safe Streets, an organization dedicated to advocating for safer roadways for all. Today I want to share our personal story that underscores the urgent need for change in our community. My husband, Jason Gordon, was crossing the street near Market and 19, which is one of the 6 most dangerous pedestrian corridors in our city, when he was tragically killed by a hit-and-run driver. At the time of his death, my twin girls were only 1 year old. Jason was a loving husband, father, son, and friend to so many. He had a kind nature, a fun-loving personality, and a sense of humor that could light up a room. At just 41 years old, he always dreamed of being an active father. The dream was stolen from him in an instant due to a careless act that could have been prevented with safer street features. The statistics are alarming. 54% of fatal and severe injury crashes occur on just 6% of our region's roadways. There are 15 intersections throughout the city that have the highest rates of pedestrian and cyclist fatalities, and one of those is where Jason lost his life. I want to take a moment to thank all the supporters here today, the elected officials, and everyone here who is committed to serving the public good. Your dedication is vital as we work together to create safer streets for our community. Simple, low-cost road infrastructure changes can be life-saving measures that benefit everyone, those who walk, bike, and drive in their communities. My twin girls, Malia and Michaela, have just started kindergarten and now walk to school. They have been robbed of the chance to have a caring, loving father in their lives and feel the support of what a male figure could have provided for their development. Jason has been cheated out of life, and he will never walk his girls to school. My hope is that we can take action to fix this year's fatal 15 most dangerous intersection and the 6 most dangerous pedestrian corridors. We must prioritize neighborhoods near schools and create safe spaces for children and families to walk in our community. Together, we can ensure that no other family must endure the pain of losing a loved one. due to preventable traffic violence. Let us honor the memory of those we have lost by advocating for the changes that will protect our children and our community. Thank you.
Hi, thanks everyone for being here. I'm Anna. I'm a survivor of a traffic collision. Thank you so much to Families for Safe Streets for hosting this event and giving us a space to speak. After the game ended on Super Bowl Sunday, I said goodbye to my friends Alyssa and Alex, who were hosting. They walked me downstairs to where my bike was parked and asked if they could drive me home instead. Thank you. I methodically walked them through all the safety features on my beautiful new gravel bike. Look, I've got a light in the front, a light and reflector in the back. I'm wearing reflectors around my ankles. I'm wearing white. I'm wearing my pink helmet. It'll be fine. It was not fine. Alyssa and Alex were worried I didn't text them when I got home like I normally do. I had just shared my location with them earlier that night, so they checked it and saw I was in the hospital. They jumped to action to be by my side. When they realized a devastating event had happened, they called my other beloved friends and alerted my family. I don't actually remember the conversation I just described. Alyssa and Alex told me about it later. My last memory is the halftime of the Super Bowl and thinking out loud, wow, Usher can actually roller skate. I have no memories for a full month. I was in the hospital after that. Here's why. While I was biking home, a driver speeding more than 50 miles per hour in a 25 mile per hour zone, running a red light, hit me. I was knocked unconscious, didn't have a pulse, had to get CPR and be intubated. My left wrist and right side of my face are all metal now because my bones were so broken. Most devastatingly, I endured bleeding in my brain, a moderate to severe traumatic brain injury. Nobody knew if I would live or die at first. Against all odds, I lived. Nobody knew if I would regain basic functions at first. Again, against all odds, I did. But it took months of healing to get to where I am now. I didn't do this alone, and I didn't do this easily. My sister moved to California to take care of me. My friends, most of whom are doctors like me, came to visit me in the hospital every day. With their support, I learned to talk and walk again. As someone who's on her feet all day at work as an OBGYN physician, and who is known by her friends as fast-talking and joke-cracking, this was really jarring, not only for me, but also for my loved ones. Not as jarring as what could have been, though. Most people who are hit by a car going as fast as the car that hit me do not live to tell about it. I honestly don't have a word other than a miracle to describe the fact that I am still here. A lot of us don't think about reckless driving as an epidemic until it directly affects our own lives. Since I am still here, I want to try and show that this is an issue worth fighting for changes to improve. Many of us have stories. Few have outcomes like mine. No one should have to rely on the luck I have had to stay alive, especially not when we can take concrete action to keep us safe. On numerous occasions, elected officials have had the opportunity to put in place evidence-based solutions to save lives and end the epidemic of traffic violence, but have chosen not to. As a doctor, whenever an intervention emerges that has evidence to support that it benefits our patients, we have a duty and responsibility. We owe it to our patients to learn how to implement it and change our practice. Change can be hard and come with sacrifices, sure. But isn't part of the point of policy to affect change that can better people's lives? Or even save people's lives, not just better them? Just like we in the medical field take advancements to protect people seriously, so too can our elected officials to achieve what should be our shared goal, to save lives. When we see patients at the hospital who have been in a traffic collision, we always try to find out how fast the car was going, because that information gives us meaningful context for the patient's prognosis. Bills like SB 961 had the potential to slow people down on the roads and save lives. So I was upset to see that Governor Gavin Newsom took the politically expedient route and vetoed a bill already approved by the elected representatives of the people, the California State Legislature. Maybe Newsom can be a coward about this, but you know who doesn't get to be a coward? The people fighting to live a dignified life after their injuries, and the people taking care of them. The people rebuilding their lives after the loss of a loved one. Those people don't get to be cowards. They are heroes by necessity. The world is chaos, and we cannot control everything. But these tragedies and the lives lost to traffic violence are not accidents. They are a product of political inaction to realign incentives to reduce reckless driving. Every day, I am grateful and in shock to be alive. Every day, I am grateful for and in awe of the people in my life. As someone who survived, it is my responsibility to speak for those who did not. It is my honor and my privilege to fight and try to spare people the monumental pain of the insurmountable losses that traffic violence has ravaged in our communities. Together, we are many, and together we can be loud enough to be heard. Thank you for fighting this fight. Please raise your voice with me, and I will raise mine with you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrea Rodriguez. I am the Senior Public Health Policy Advisor for Supervisor Nora Vargas, the Chairwoman of the County Board of Supervisors. I'm honored to be here with you all today, and thank you for sharing your stories, your experiences, and for using your voice for advocacy. World Day of Remembrance is a time to honor and remember those who have lost their lives or have been injured in traffic violence. It is a time to acknowledge that traffic violence doesn't just affect individuals, but impacts families, friends, and entire communities. I want to recognize Family for Safe Streets, the San Diego County Bicycle Coalition, Bike SD, City Heights CDC, and Circulate San Diego for their work in making the streets safer and working with the community to bring these important issues to the forefront. These statistics have been shared, but I want to re-emphasize that last year, more than 42,000 people nationally and more than 250 people in our region lost their lives to traffic violence. With 60% of all fatal and serious injury crashes occurring on roads with 4 or more lanes, and 28% of fatal and serious injury crashes involving a bicyclist occurring on streets with a posted speed limit of 35 miles per hour. And 66% of pedestrian fatal and serious injury crashes occurring in dark conditions. As a region, we need to do better. We must recognize that safe roads promote and allow for healthy living. Walking, running, and cycling reduces risk factors for cardiovascular disease, respiratory disease, type 2 diabetes, and has a positive effect on mental health and general well-being. Safe roads allow for safe commutes to school, to work, connections to friends and family, and overall allow us to build and connect our community. As a county, we are dedicated to ensuring that we are promoting safe routes to schools with some achievements including some small but very impactful improvements around elementary schools in the unincorporated areas, which include restriping the walk paths and adding a 4-way stop. I want to reemphasize that through shared dedication and the courage of advocacy groups and individuals, San Diego can make strides towards a future where traffic deaths and injuries are a thing of the past. We're all part of the solution. With our days getting darker earlier, I want to encourage all of San Diego to practice mindfulness and share the road, to adhere to safe speed limits, slow down for cyclists and pedestrians, and practice safe parking practices like avoiding blocking bicycle lanes. Let's remember, each time we choose to get into our car, it is our responsibility to keep those around us safe. We cannot put the blame on our cyclists and pedestrians or put the expectations of safety on them either. I want to thank you all for coming here today, and I want to thank everyone's dedication to building healthier and stronger communities.
Hello, my name is Caleb Carvalho. I'm here today to share my story and to ask for safer streets, not only for myself but for all kids. On September 5th, I was just a few blocks away from Helix High School. I was riding my bike in the bike lane on what was supposed to be my first home football game. I was following every rule, staying in the bike lane, waiting at the light, and making sure the driver in front of me could see me in the mirror. When the light turned green, the truck suddenly turned into a driveway, cutting across the bike lane and straight into my path. In that split second, my world went black. I had been hit and run over by a large trash truck, leaving me with serious injuries, compound fractures in my pelvis, nerve damage, and drop foot. Since that day, I've had 3 surgeries, and now my life revolves around hospital beds, physical therapy sessions, and constant pain. Walking again, something I once took for granted, is now my biggest challenge, and the road ahead remains uncertain. I'm here today to share my story, but I know that I'm not alone. Every year, families lose loved ones to crashes that could have been prevented. These aren't just numbers or statistics, they're people, friends, siblings, and children. Every one of these crashes leaves a permanent impact on families, changing lives forever. What's hard for me to accept is that traffic deaths and serious injuries are preventable. We already have the knowledge and tools to make our streets safer. What we're lacking is the commitment to make these changes a reality.
So I'm Nathan Sweat. I am Caleb's uncle. And we're here today to set some clear goals on behalf of Caleb. The first and foremost initiative that we want to point out is safe routes to schools. We believe that every child deserves a safe journey to schools, and make it possible that, and how we do that is by asking the city of San Diego to take these 3 crucial steps, as people have been pointing out already. Fix the fatal 15 intersections, which are the most dangerous intersections in our city with the highest number of pedestrians and cyclists facilities and injuries. Most of them are near schools, and they should always be a top priority to prove safety improvements. Also, again, the implementation of AB 43 so that we can lower speed limits in school zones, setting speed limits at lower speeds to lower accidents and fatalities is what our goal is, and really kind of making that a big initiative for us. Also, the 6 critical corridors identified by San Diegans, and these 6 roads are the most dangerous also to pedestrians corridor in the cities, and that all are near schools as well. So we really want to express the safety improvement of these corridors so that we can prevent crashes like Caleb's, and so that we can have roads that are safe for students to get to school. Today is the theme of World Day of Remembrance, is getting kids back to school safely. As you notice, there are some backpacks as well this year, so we are incorporating that as a remembrance for those students. Recent surveys show that parents are deeply worried about street safety, particularly during school drop-off and pickups. As my sister as well expressed that as well, she was worried just to drop Caleb off to get to school. Her worst fears came true. And then one thing that we really want to talk about, the infrastructures on the streets. The infrastructure on our streets are just not there to protect Caleb or other students, but we really want to make that change, because we need the safe routes to ensure that all children, regardless of where they live, can travel to school without fear. We're grateful that Caleb is here today, but I know that many others won't get this chance. Every time we fix a dangerous intersection, lower a speed limit, or put up barriers between cars and bike lanes, we're making a choice to protect lives and over convenience and prioritize safety over speed. To the leaders of City of San Diego, we're asking you to act now. The tragedy and hardship of our family and Caleb faces daily is something I hope no one else must experience. Let's make our streets safe for everyone, especially kids on their way to school. We'd like to personally thank some political leaders, especially Colin Parent from La Mesa City Council and the U.S. Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs for listening to Caleb's story and for making our streets a safer place for all. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephen Whitburn, the City Council member who represents this area, an area that has seen far too many lives lost due to traffic violence. Some of the people depicted in the photos here lost their lives on streets just a short distance away from where we are this evening. Right down here at the intersection of El Cajon Boulevard and Washington Street, down in Mission Valley on Camino del Rio South, Market Street, Pershing Drive. Pershing Drive is an example of what we can do to make our streets safer. But while we wait for that kind of infrastructure, there are many things that we could do much more quickly and much more inexpensively to protect people, quick build projects, and other methods, and we need to do those things. I want to thank Laura Keenan, Families for Safe Streets, and all the family members here today who have shared their stories. Thank you for drawing upon the love of the person you lost to help save the lives of others. We are here to remember and to commit to action. Let us prevent more families from experiencing the pain of these devastating losses. As has been mentioned, in San Diego County last year alone, 258 people lost their lives to traffic crashes. Thousands more were seriously injured. And behind these statistics are families whose lives are forever altered because a parent or a child or another loved one never came home. As we hold this vigil this evening outside of an elementary school, we know that many parents are reluctant, even fearful, to allow their children to walk to school. They have heard about too many of the tragedies in the news, tragedies that you've heard about tonight and too many others. As has been mentioned, people under the age of 21 account for nearly a fifth of the traffic fatalities in our county, over a quarter of the serious injuries. Our youngest and most vulnerable San Diegans deserve safe streets. We have much work to do. There is reason for hope. Your advocacy is galvanizing support for an increased emphasis on traffic calming. The City Council unanimously adopted a resolution that I brought forward with the Council President and with the support of my colleague, Councilmember Joe LaCava, who is also here tonight, who represents District 1, to explore policy changes to speed up the process of getting stop signs and better crosswalks and other traffic calming measures. It should not take as long as it does to get these safety measures in place. My office is partnering with city staff under Mayor Gloria's leadership to reduce speeds on certain streets to make them safer. We are going to see that happen. I can tell you the traffic calming measures are one of the biggest topics when I'm meeting with residents in our neighborhoods. They want quick action. And I will continue to partner with you as we take action to make our streets safe. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to Circulate San Diego, the Bike Coalition, City Heights Community Development, and Bike SD for sponsoring this vigil.
Good afternoon, and thanks to everyone here for your support. My name is Michelle Gonzalez, and right here on this first poster, that was my sister Andrea. Andrea was an exemplary person. She was an Ivy League graduate, an urbanist, a community organizer, and she was my best friend. Last year, on Saturday, October 1, that cared and dedicated her time to improve the Hispanic, BIPOC, LGBTQIA communities. I want to thank council members like Whitburn, Elo Rivera, and La Cava for their sustained support towards safe streets. But I figure that I will soon also become another dead cyclist or pedestrian with no consequence if we don't step up our commitment to street safety. Thanks to everyone else for being here, for your support, and I hope that we can carry this momentum forward towards a real zero traffic victims next year. And I hope that we can protect more than just the people in cars, reduce speed limits, and prevent more families, friends, and neighbors from needlessly dying on our streets. And for our folks in Spanish, gracias por estar aquí. Me llamo Michelle y esta era mi hermana. Andrea era una persona ejemplar y se graduó de una escuela de la Liga Ivy, y ella era una planeadora urbana y organizadora en la comunidad. El 21 de octubre del 2023, ella fue golpeada fatalmente por una camioneta justo enfrente de una escuela. Hoy, para recordar a las víctimas de violencia vehicular, le pido al alcalde Todd Gloria y a los otros miembros concejales de San Diego que utilicen herramientas como el Assembly Bill 43 o Assembly Bill 43, que capacita y le da poder a agencias gubernamentales para reducir límites de velocidad a 15 millas por hora entre 500 pies de distancia a las escuelas y 25 millas por hora entre 500 y 1000 pies de distancia a las escuelas. Hay bastante información y data que prueban que altas velocidades aumentan exponencialmente la probabilidad de muerte en caso de choques. Me importan las velocidades seguras en zonas escolares porque quiero que toda la gente, incluyendo a los niños y niñas, lleguen a salvo a sus escuelas. Incluso mi hermana, que era una persona adulta, en un grupo en bici en plena luz del día, usando casco y todo el equipo protectivo, fue víctima de la infraestructura insuficiente e ineficiente que terminó con su vida. Y de la misma manera en que el diseño de las calles le falló a mi hermana, también le va a fallar a los niños pequeños. El compromiso para mejorar las calles y hacerlas más seguras y que la gente se deje de morir en las calles empieza con reducir los límites de velocidad en zonas escolares y proveyendo rutas seguras para proteger a la gente y que no se conviertan en otra estadística o en otro pedazo de cartón con su foto. Hace 3 años participé con mi hermana en el primer evento de este tipo para honrar y recordar víctimas de violencia de tráfico, y es irónico que ahora participo en los mismos eventos honrándola a ella y a otras víctimas de la violencia de tráfico, pero sin ella. El día que mataron a mi hermana, perdí a mi mejor amiga, pero la comunidad también perdió a alguien que dedicaba su tiempo y energía en avanzar a las comunidades hispanas, LGBTI de color. Gracias a todos por su apoyo para obtener calles seguras, pero si no nos comprometemos más con acciones más decisivas, yo y más de mis amigos nos vamos a convertir en otros ciclistas muertos sin ninguna consecuencia. Espero que podamos usar este impulso para adelante para poder obtener 0 muertes y 0 víctimas este año que viene. Protejamos más que las personas que manejan carro y reduzcamos los límites de velocidad y prevengamos que más familias, amistades y personas mueran en las calles. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight. My name is Nancy Kavanaugh Wilson, and I'm the widow of Kevin Wilson. Kevin was 56 years old. He went out for a morning bike ride, and at 10:37 in the morning, Kevin was hit from behind when a drunk driver veered into his bike lane and left Kevin to die in the road. We'd been planning a vacation for months in 2020. We were going to do an Alaskan cruise. It was to be our second honeymoon, and instead I had to make arrangements for Kevin's funeral. Again, Kevin was only 56 years old. Since then, I've joined Families for Safe Streets to advocate for safe streets. And this year, again, like they've said, our focus is on getting the kids to school safely. Of the 258 pair of shoes that represent the deaths in 2023 from traffic violence. 46 of those parachutes represents the children under the age of 21 that were killed. I'd like to recognize and give Caleb Carvalho a huge hand today for being here and sharing his story. And Caleb, we are so glad that you were able to share your story. The numbers are too high, and we need to do things to make the changes to make our streets safer. I also want to recognize Laura Keenan for her hard work and dedication to Families for Safe Streets. I want to beam a big hug out to everybody that's lost somebody to traffic violence, because it's a hard road to navigate sometimes. So the support means more than anything, so I want to thank all you guys for your continued support. Now, in San Diego is known as America's finest city. If we work together and make the changes that need to be made, let's be known as America's safest city. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes our speakers, but I want to say that was incredibly moving. Everybody's story is just so powerful and heart-wrenching at the same time. Also, I appreciate the incredible support here. We have people from all parts of our community, elected officials, education leaders, students, friends, families, you name it. This is not just a niche issue, it's affecting all of us, and I think the presence here today really shows how much people care about saving lives and improving the safety of our streets. I will say too, please, well, we're having a reception afterwards a few blocks away at the Tap Room. It's a fundraiser for Families for Safe Streets, and as Nate mentioned earlier, we also have a giveaway opportunity if you guys are interested in buying some raffle or giveaway opportunity tickets, I should say. And we would love to have you there. It'll be a little bit more upbeat and a chance to socialize and hopefully get to know each other a little bit more too. So thank you again for coming, and I hope if we don't see you, you have a wonderful evening.